Okay, so you're really thinking about UC Berkeley. Hmm? Huh? Not just thinking about it. You're like picturing yourself there.
Yeah, really envisioning being on that campus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like Berkeley, it's not just a job, it's an experience.
exactly. And that's what we are going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
We're
All
going to
right.
be doing a deep dive into Berkeley, going beyond just like the typical, oh, it's a great university narrative.
Right?
Really going to dissect what makes it unique.
Yeah, we've got some really cool source material that we're going to be referencing as we talk today
I do.
that really gets into kind of like the nitty-gritty of what it's like to work at Berkeley,
What they're looking for.
what they're looking for. So think of this as your insider guide
Yes.
to Berkeley jobs.
Yeah. We'll talk about the culture,
Yeah.
their reputation for research, their commitment to diversity.
What it's like to actually be there.
Yeah, what it's like to be a part of that campus community.
All right, so let's dive in. First off, everyone knows Berkeley's a big deal, but WHY,
Right.
what makes it stand out from other prestigious universities?
Well, it's consistently ranked as one of the top public universities globally,
Of course.
but it's more than just rankings.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Berkeley fosters a very specific kind of environment.
Okay.
They really focus on pushing the boundaries in their fields,
Okay.
doing what they call pioneering research.
Okay, but what does that actually look like for someone who works there?
Right.
Is it all Nobel Prize winners and pressure to publish?
That's a good question. And that was something I was thinking about as I was going through this material.
Uh,
But one of the things that kind of surprised me was how much emphasis they put on mentorship and support.
okay.
They actually highlight a lot of initiatives to help faculty grow, help them secure funding, and even collaborate across different disciplines.
So they're invested in your success,
It seems like it.
not just their own reputation.
Yeah, and that's interesting because you hear a lot about how cutthroat academia can be,
Right.
especially at these top institutions.
I-
So it seems like they're trying to cultivate something different at Berkeley.
So what is that different thing? What are they trying to do?
No, ambition is definitely present,
Okay.
but they highlight inclusion a lot and this idea of inspiring students as a key part of the Berkeley experience.
Okay. Interesting.
It seems like it's less about just churning out research papers
Okay.
and more about fostering the next generation of thinkers.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's refreshing to hear.
Mhm.
But let's be real, competition exists everywhere.
Of course.
What if you're not a research superstar?
Right.
Like, do they even consider applicants who aren't aiming for a Nobel Prize?
That's a good question. And the source material actually emphasizes that they have a wide range of academic positions.
Okay.
They mention faculty research and administrative roles,
Got it.
all of which contribute to their overall mission.
Okay, so there's variety.
There is.
But the application process for any academic job
Oh, yeah.
can be daunting.
It can.
Any insider tips on how to stand out?
At Berkeley.
At Berkeley specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the source material kind of points you to their official job portal,
Of course.
but that's just the starting point.
Right.
What I really noticed is that they emphasize tailoring your application.
Okay.
They want to see how your skills and experience fit their needs.
Not just how impressive your CV is.
Not just a generic impressive CV.
So no mass applying with the same resume.
Right.
You really have to understand what each role requires.
Precisely.
Okay.
You have to think about what makes you a good fit for Berkeley's very particular and unique culture.
Okay, and what is that?
Well, they highlight a commitment to diversity and inclusion.
Uh-huh.
So showcasing your understanding of those values can be really key.
Okay, this is great insight.
Yeah.
But let's address the elephant in the room. Berkeley's in the Bay Area.
Oh, yeah,
One of the most expensive places to live.
for sure.
How do people manage that?
That's a great question. And unfortunately, the source material doesn't actually talk about compensation very much.
Yeah, that's a big question mark for a lot of people, I think.
It is. But I think researching salary ranges and being really honest with yourself about your financial needs is crucial before you even apply.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So for our listener who's now like captivated by the idea of Berkeley,
Yeah.
but maybe a little intimidated by the whole process,
Understandably.
what's a one piece of advice that jumps out at you?
Honestly, I think it's don't be afraid to go beyond just the safest level.
Okay.
Research specific departments, faculty members, projects that resonate with you really demonstrate your genuine interest in being a part of their community, not just any prestigious institution.
Right.
That passion will make you stand out.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
It's not just about checking boxes.
No?
It's about finding the right fit.
Exactly.
But how do you go about doing that?
Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
Well, that's where things get really interesting, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, buckle up, everybody. We're going deeper.
Let's get into it. So let's get practical.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's talk about how to actually make this Berkeley dream a reality.
Right. Because it's one thing to say, okay, these are their values, but how do you actually demonstrate that in an application?
Right.
What are they really looking for beyond just like the basic qualifications?
Yeah, and of course, the source material doesn't give you a step-by-step guide.
Right.
But reading between the lines, I noticed this recurring theme of impact.
Okay.
They want people who aren't just brilliant, but they're driven to make a difference.
So it's not enough to just be like a top researcher.
Yeah.
You have to actually show how your work connects to the real world.
Exactly. They highlight inspiring students and pioneering research as key draws,
Uh-huh.
which suggests that they want people who are passionate about their fields and who want to share that passion with others,
Okay.
both inside and outside the classroom.
That makes sense given their legacy of social impact.
Right.
But how do you actually convey that in an application? Is
Yeah.
it all about highlighting specific projects or accomplishments?
I think it's about framing your experience in a way that aligns with their mission.
Okay.
So, for example, instead of just listing your publications,
Yeah.
you could emphasize how your research has contributed to a specific field or addressed a real-world problem.
So it's about storytelling.
Yeah.
Not just listing credentials.
Good. Great.
Showing them that you understand what they value
Yes.
and how you embody that.
And that goes beyond just research, too.
Sure.
Even for administrative roles,
Mhm.
highlighting your commitment to fostering diversity and inclusion or supporting student success would resonate really strongly with Berkeley's culture.
I see. Okay, so you've crafted this perfect application.
Right.
You're showcasing your impact.
Yeah.
You're aligning your values with theirs. What happens next?
Yeah.
Is it all about just waiting for that interview call?
There's something that the source material doesn't explicitly mention,
Okay.
but I think it's absolutely crucial
Oh,
networking.
of course. Networking is huge.
It is in
Right.
any field.
In any field, but especially academia, I think.
Yeah. So reaching out to people who work at Berkeley, attending conferences where they might be present, these are all ways to get your name and your passion in front of the right people.
So it's not just about submitting an application into the void.
No.
It's about actively engaging with the Berkeley community.
Exactly. Think of it as demonstrating initiative.
Yeah.
You're passionate about working there.
Right.
Show them that you're already invested in the community.
I like it.
Yeah.
This is great advice, especially for someone who might be intimidated by how competitive academia is.
Right.
But let's shift gears for a moment
Okay.
and talk about the practicalities of living and working in Berkeley.
Yeah.
What is the campus environment like?
Yeah.
Is it all modern buildings and high-tech labs, or is there some sense of
Right.
history there?
Well, actually, the source material uses the word picturesque to describe the campus.
Okay.
So it seems like it's this blend of historic architecture and modern facilities.
So it's not just this like sterile research environment.
It doesn't sound like it.
There's a sense of place.
Yes.
A sense of history.
Yeah, they talk about this vibrant cultural scene.
Yeah.
Bustling cafes, lively discussions happening everywhere.
Cool.
So it really seems like a place where intellectual curiosity is just woven into the fabric of everyday life.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
It's not just about the job itself, but about the entire environment.
absolutely.
Speaking of which, Berkeley's renowned for its commitment to diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
How does that actually translate into the work experience?
Yeah, they're not just paying lip service to this.
Right.
They have dedicated initiatives, resources, even affinity groups
Oh, wow.
to foster a welcoming and inclusive environment.
That's great.
Yeah, it seems like they're really putting their values into action.
So it's about creating a space where everyone feels valued and respected,
Yes.
regardless of their background.
Exactly. And, that ties back to what we were talking about earlier
Okay.
about showcasing your understanding of these values in your application.
Right.
It's not just about saying the right words.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
about demonstrating your commitment to these principles.
I see. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From understanding Berkeley's unique culture
Right.
to practical tips for navigating the job search.
Yeah.
But there's one crucial aspect we haven't touched on yet,
And what's that?
the actual work.
Oh.
We've talked about research.
Yeah.
We've talked about impact.
Mhm.
But what about teaching?
Yeah.
What's it like to inspire the next generation of thinkers at such a prestigious institution?
That's a great question, and one that deserves its own deep dive.
Okay,
So in the next part, we'll explore the realities of teaching at Berkeley.
let's do it. So we talked about Berkeley's ethos, the
Yeah.
application, the whole campus vibe, but now let's get to the heart of it.
Hmm.
What's it actually like to teach at Berkeley? Is it all Nobel laureates lecturing to packed halls of geniuses?
Well, it's definitely intellectually stimulating, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But what I notice in the source material is the emphasis on mentorship, even in teaching. They talk about inspiring students not as a side gig, but as a core draw for working at Berkeley.
So they're not just churning out research papers. They're really invested in shaping the next generation.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah.
And it's not just about lecturing to a passive audience either.
Right.
They highlight interdisciplinary collaboration,
Uh-huh.
which suggests a more hands-on collaborative approach to learning.
That's interesting because you often hear about these big universities being so impersonal.
Right. Especially for undergrads?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So is Berkeley trying to break that mold?
It seems like they're really emphasizing a different approach. Remember, they value impact.
Right.
So it's not just about imparting knowledge.
Mhm.
It's about empowering students to actually apply that knowledge and make a difference in their fields.
That makes sense given their focus on real-world solutions. But what about the students themselves? Are they all straight-A overachievers, or is there a diversity of backgrounds and perspectives?
Well, Berkeley is known for its diverse student body.
Yeah.
They attract top talent from all over the world. Right.
Which probably contributes to that vibrant intellectual atmosphere that they describe.
Yeah, it must be incredibly rewarding to work with students who are so driven and so engaged.
Oh, absolutely.
But teaching at a top institution can also be intimidating. Is there a support system in place for educators, especially those who are new to Berkeley?
Absolutely. They mention a commitment to professional development, providing resources and opportunities for faculty to grow.
Okay.
So it really suggests a culture of mentorship that extends beyond just research.
That's reassuring to hear. So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From understanding Berkeley's very unique culture to even practical tips for navigating that whole job search process.
Right.
But for our listener who's ready to take the plunge, where do they actually begin?
Well, the source material points to their official job portal.
Of course.
That's the first step.
Right.
But remember, it's not just about finding any open position. It's about finding the right fit for you. So it's back to that idea of tailoring your application, showcasing your understanding of Berkeley's values, demonstrating your passion for their mission.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of networking.
Oh, networking is so important.
It is reach out to people who work at Berkeley, attend conferences or events where they might be present. Those personal connections can really make all the difference.
That's a great reminder.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about sending out resumes into the void.
Yeah.
It's about actively engaging with the community that you want to be a part of.
Exactly. And if you're feeling inspired by what we've talked about today, but maybe you want to explore opportunities at other top-ranked universities around the world,
Yeah?
there's a fantastic resource for that, academicjobs.com.
Well, that's a great tip. They have a comprehensive listing of academic positions, including those at Berkeley.
All in one place.
Amazing. So whether you're set on Berkeley or open to exploring other options, remember that finding the right fit is key.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I think we've given our listener a lot to think about today.
I think so too.
Berkeley's clearly more than just a prestigious institution. It's a community of passionate individuals who are dedicated to pushing those boundaries and making a real-world impact.
Absolutely. And if that resonates with you, maybe Berkeley is the place for you.
So are you ready to take the leap? Start your journey at academicjobs.com and see where it leads you.